Here we have Benny Johnson was able to get Holly on. Now, you remember what's happened with Holly, Cincinnati Holly here. The other day, she and a group of friends went to celebrate the birthday of one of the friends. How many were in the group? I don't know. They went out, and there was a jazz festival going on. By her own words in her interview with Benny Johnson here, she said that they were leaving. They had exited a bar or club, and they were jumped. That's her words. They were jumped. Well, of course, we saw the video of two of the white guys being punched from behind, and their arms are they're not squaring up for a fight with someone. They're being punched from all different directions, thrown down, and when they get thrown onto the pavement, anti-white terrorists, the anti-white lynch mob, they're running up, they're kicking them in their kidneys, kicking them in their face, stomping on their heads. And this was going on for some time, and it was kind of a sprawling thing, kind of this way and that way. And there were a lot of cackles. There was a lot of screaming going on. You kind of got the impression that they were maybe right beside the zoo. And the zoo animals were getting into this, and they were screaming. There was a lot of cackling and screaming going on, running up and stomping these guys. And finally, one of the guys, he's able to get to his feet, and then immediately he's been stomped in the head. He's concussed bad. He starts drifting to the side and falls down and hits the ground. At some point, as they're being beaten, one of these guys, one of the white guys, presumably white, who was yelling that he was like 65 or something like this, he had been thrown to the ground. He had been kicked. And at some point, he got up, and I guess he had enough, and he started calling, I guess, one of the black guys an N-er. Potentially, it was him. And as a consequence of them attacking him, you can't even say, of course, you can't say that even when they are lynching you for being white. This is clearly all about white people being in a black space. Every white person knows this. We live our lives. We go out into the world. And you can go into these areas, you can go into these spaces that have been claimed by non-white people. And in that crowd of non-white people, there obviously are going to be some wonderful or normal or average non-white people of all non-white races. But there's also a high percentage every single time of anti-white, non-white people. And they see your presence, just like we were watching here a moment ago, of this non-white female walking down the street, videotaping herself and posting her fury at white people being in her spaces. They just hate us. They hate seeing us. They are at war with us, anti-whites of all races. They hate seeing our presence. They really hate when they've claimed a space as theirs, as we see in Los Angeles, as we see in New Orleans, as we see. How many cities do we have to see? Atlanta, where even the public officials come out and they say, this is a chocolate city. This is a black city, this, etc. And I mean, look at even up in Boston with Wu. And she's doing everything she can to facilitate the white erasure of Boston, of all places, claiming this as theirs. And then they outright tell you, this is ours. You are not welcome here. Can't we have our own spaces? Well, you were given your own. We built you schools of your own. We built you water fountains of your own. We built you all of this. We built your communities for you all to live in of your own. And then you said, no, that's not good enough. We need to live among you. We need to go to school with you. You can't build us things. You have to allow us at your stuff. You have to allow us access to you, your houses, your white women, your white children. You need to give us access to all of this. And you see, though, that the natural course of events, as these things come to fruition, as they come to their denouement, they then say, we don't want to see you at all. We now have the spaces. We now dominate these spaces. It's not yours anymore. Don't show up. So we've all experienced in our life, we've gone places where you were given immediately the energy, the signal, that you as a white person were not welcome. You as a white, no matter how anti-white, they can't tell. They can just look at you and see. We see that's in countries that we've created, in cities and towns, in bars, etc., that we have built, on piers that we constructed. And this is the energy that we're given. Get out, it's ours now. Well, this friend group went down into Cincinnati, and they were obviously getting the signal, but they didn't quite get it. They didn't quite get it, or maybe they didn't care. Maybe they thought, maybe they bought into some of the anti-white propaganda. Maybe many of the group were anti-white. Holly does not seem to be any more anti-white than the average white person. In fact, she has the mentality that we need to be able to speak to and win over. And it's very sad. It's puerile. It is, I mean, to stay with that theme as well, immature. It's childish, sticking with that theme. There's so much of it, as you see, as it comes out of her. This naivete, this childish naivete about the world, and this wish that is so endemic to the average white person, the average white person out there who ascribes to some degree to conservative politics and are led around by the nose by conservatives and given the teleos of conservative ideology, which is a colorblind society where everybody is in love with everybody else. Can't we just not see race at all? Can't we just all love each other? And white people have been saying this. I mean, just go back and read the history and see how bad it's been. White people making this plea, this begging, this supplication of anti-whites of all races. But of course, it's most poignant when it is of an non-white anti-white. They're making this. So where does this come from? How do we address this? It's not going to be addressed by talking about Palestine. This is where we are. This is the white race in their millions that need to be converted to a white positivity, that need to be using the lexical and dialectical power of the Go Free practice. Because if they're not, we continue trending this direction. We continue with our cities becoming increasingly third world, as they are. I mean, just ask Ed. Big balls. Ask Ed. You can't even be in the nice areas in Washington, D.C. You can't even go to what's left of the nice areas in Cincinnati because it's theirs now. It's theirs, not just the vile raping, murdering, being locked up numerous times, being given bail for $400 villains, anti-white, non-white villains in the street. It's theirs all the way up into the nodes of power. 2 council members in Cincinnati saying, yeah, they deserved it. They were out there. They're the ones causing the problem. Well, ultimately, they're right. By being white and in a city that we built that was 100% white when we built it, by being there, you're causing it. One of those city council members going so far, and you all know this, anti-white black woman, going so far as saying outright on social media, they deserved it. The other city council members saying, it's just a fight. They shouldn't have been down there. A pastor for the city showing up saying, it's just a fight. It's, there are fights all the time. Reminds you of Köhne in London. Well, this is just what happens in a big city now. This is just what happens in your cities that were formerly 100% white, 100% safe. This is just the norm now. The stabbings, the shootings, the anti-white lynchings. That's just the norm now. So they were jumped. These white guys being obliterated by punches coming from all directions, just like Edward, big balls in Washington, D.C., bloodied, battered, beaten. Oddly enough, and I'm going to repeat it several times because it's not odd at all. It's another big problem with the white race. All of the focus on the one female. Now, she should have as much focus, as much concern as the other white people who were punched and stomped. As far as I can tell, she was punched once. Obliterated by it, of course. But the others were stomped repeatedly, head stomped into the concrete. Not a single word in the conservative world about the white guys. Not a single word about the white guys from Holly, which I found to be most distressing. It was all about her. It was all about the focus on the females. It's all about making sure the white girls are okay, cutting out spaces for them so they don't have to compete against males in their sports, making sure all the way to the end of the white race that the white female will be comfortable. That's a problem we have to overcome. That's one of those hard pills that white people have to take, that we have to, maybe you could look at it this way, elevate the value of the white man up to equal to the white woman at a minimum. So Benny Johnson decided he was going to share major clips from this interview. The full interview, I think, is posting today or tomorrow. And I wanted to share because this is so instructive. We needed, as soon as I saw this, I thought we have got to explore Holly and what comes out of her mouth toward the end of the final clip that Benny Johnson shares. And he, of course, is choking back, tearing up, because it is distressing. And this is another one of those examples of white males being the true caregivers. White males being the ones who actually care about everybody in our race. Because a fully grown, along in her years of adulthood, with grown children and another young handicapped child, it breaks down in tears, and it's distressing. As white males, we look at our women and children crying as the people we have to immediately defend and protect and coddle and carry. Regrettably, too few white females feel the same way about white males. Regrettably. Holly did, though, in the midst of the savage beatings, attempt to placate the attackers. These are her friends, by the way, that are being stomped into the ground. So she attempted to placate them. And of course, you know now, one of them, was it Merriweather, whatever, ended up punching her in the face. And that, of course, is an act of anti-white terrorism. He, without question, did not strike her as hard as he could in the face, attempt to kill her with such a punch, as he was overlooking all of anti-whiteism, overlooking what he believes is all the harm the white race has inflicted on everyone else, all of the theft that the white race has carried out against everyone else. He wasn't being magnanimous. He was doing it because she's white. This is the most obvious thing that any rational person could ever look at and deduce. What else is there? You have these scenarios when it comes to Jewish people, for example, because a percentage of them work together instead of like this garbage white race who won't work together, won't acknowledge our patent victimization as whites. And they'll show up and they'll say, if you're criticizing the behavior of the current regime running Israel, well, then that is anti-Jew. They'll call it anti-Semitic. That's the smart thing to do. The white race can't get this. They're not honorable enough to come here and say, obviously, this is what this guy is doing is right. This is the way to go. This is what's moral. This is what works. So Benny is holding back the tears. And kudos to him. It's a tough couple of moments as this white woman is crying her eyes out. but it requires some explication. What's happening here? What's going through her mind? Are we right in service to white well-being? Is there an anti-white narrative? Is there a social morality? And is that social morality the anti-white immoral imperative? And you'll find it's not very long, you'll find as we dig into this and expand on what she's saying, that indeed we are 100% right. And indeed, this will continue unless or until we are able to carry the lead. We are able to be that force that so many other whites look to for guidance and leadership on how to reclaim our destiny and arrest our victimization. This simply won't end. Before I show you and have you all breaking down and trying to hold back tears, Holly was asked, she was given an opportunity, I guess I should say, by Benny to speak to the many people in a GoFundMe that have financially gifted Holly. Benny started, you all saw the actual video, we watched it here, where Benny said to Senator Marino, hey, we should get a GoFundMe together. And it ended up being Benny Johnson who got that GoFundMe together, and currently, as of yesterday, was up to just shy of $500,000 that has come in to help Holly. Not a penny, as far as I'm aware of, for the white guys. I don't know what they're going through. The white race doesn't care. So he asked her if she would like to share her thoughts for everyone who had financially gifted her thus far. She says, quote, I just don't even know what to say. Just the love from everyone, and the humanity, and the wishes, and the peace. Before I go any further, I want to point out, because it has to be pointed out, who's humanity? What is humanity? What is the humanity that she's referencing? These are our norms. The humanity is not derived from humanity. It's derived in the West from the white race. And I would submit primarily from the males of the white race. Because the white females have no humanity, apparently, for the white males. Or very little. The only white women caring about the white guys who got their heads stomped in the ground, kicked in the face and everything, are their mothers, if they're lucky. So when she says the humanity, she's talking about our norm. Everything encapsulated in this single word to define the proper treatment, the gentle treatment, the fair treatment of others in our civilization. Do we see the exact same thing around the world? Is it identical around the world? No. There are a lot of similarities. Some people groups very similar, other people groups very dissimilar when it comes to the humanity. Important, therefore, to point out when she says the humanity, it's a product of the white race, not a product of the human species. She says, and the wishes, and the peace, and it just made me see how many people out there are still good. Before we go on any further, because the next word is because, what is she talking about now? What does she mean? It made me see how many people out there are still good. It seems like there's a possibility that she could be going this general Christian type of direction. The sinner, the moral person. Maybe she's going that direction. It would seem, but nah. The next sentence reveals that she's actually thinking about the anti-white narrative. She's thinking about her guilt, her white guilt, and about the evil the evil of the white race in the anti-white narrative. She says, it just made me see how many people out there are still good, because for so long I just thought the whole country was just full of shame and hate. Three more paragraphs to go. The shame here she's talking, I submit, maybe you think differently, but I submit the shame she's talking about is the white guilt that she feels for the hate, which in her, the white hate, the hatred of non-white people, the hatred of other religions, the hatred of etc. Everything that's not white, everything that's not Western. Those two words are brother and sister. They're siblings in her head, because that's what the anti-white does. You are to have shame. You are to have white guilt if you're white because of your people's hatred of others. If you're astute, you can instantly see this, and it all makes perfect sense. This is a self-contained practice that the Go Free dialogic that perfectly explains the thinking, actions, the make predictions, make retrodictions, understand the present, works perfectly without having to change the formula one iota. She goes on. And I just want you all to know that you guys, now it seems like she's kind of speaking also to Benny Johnson and his audience as well. I just want you to know that you guys have a great community of love. I don't even know what to say. Listen to this next line, because this is a person who is technically a member of our race. If we would have a people, she would be a member of it. She's been completely severed from any peoplehood whatsoever by anti-whiteism. This is a diseased animal. She says, I don't even know what to say. You all are just beautiful humans. That is as awkward and clunky sounding, inelegant. You are beautiful humans. There is no race. There are no races. There are no peoples when it comes to a white person looking out into the world, and how the white person needs to articulate the world should operate, at the same time acknowledging that there are non-white groups that are beautiful, wonderful, special, beautiful humans, not even beautiful people, beautiful humans. That is, for the average white person, certainly the one who is a follower of conservative ideology of its various stripes, that is the loyalty group, humans. Now, do you wonder? You have a group of people who are loyal to the humans, and then you have other groups of people that are loyal to their actual people groups. Who is going to win that contest? You all are just beautiful humans. And let's keep moving forward with love. And now, what does love mean right there? What does love? Love in this sense, in this context, means ignoring our victimization as whites. She says, just let's keep moving forward with love for your neighbor, for your cousin, and your coworker. Now, when she says that, that's just slop. She's not thinking. The problem here for her is that she's making a socio-political statement. Why is she making a racial socio-political statement? Because she's been trained that that's the moral thing to do. Now, some of you might be thinking, CRS could have shown up. CRS, Community Relations Service, is an entity in the federal government department and the FBI, I believe. Every Western country that we've looked into, there is an analogous to CRS. And when there is a crime committed against white people that becomes popular, they show up at the door with the color of law, and I'm speculating here, of course, you'll have to check it out for yourself. They tell the white person, you don't want to say that they did this because of race reasons. You could get sued for that. You could start a riot for that. You could instigate radicals to want to come after you. And that's why so often, in part, we see the exact same kind of self-flagellation by whites, and these utterances of subservience to the social morality, the anti-white immoral imperative, this subservience and this pledging of one to anti-white ideology. But the reality is, you don't need CRS to show up, not anymore. This is the actual thinking of white people. This is what they think is the right and normal and good and moral thing to do. That has to be addressed. That's what we address with the Go Free practice. That is not addressed by talking about Palestine. So she's saying here, she's trying to awkwardly walk us into being race blind. Don't acknowledge that we are victimized as a people group, as the white race. Everyone should aspire, of all groups, should aspire to seeing no race in the world. We should all just love each other. I have a little bit of an unfair awareness of her thinking because I know what she's about to say. Nonetheless, it should be evident at this point that she's talking about the anti-white narrative, awkwardly trying to introduce the subject of we shouldn't care about the races by saying neighbor, cousin, coworker. She then makes very clear, and stop looking at them as white or black or foreign. Just please God, just start looking at humans as humans again. This begging of the white population, this is the mindset in the millions of our brothers and sisters. They were told as a consequence of anti-whiteism that they were going to end up in this eudaimonic multiracialism. It's going to be okay. Don't worry. Everything we're saying here is moral. The vast majority of the white population takes heed. Everything we're saying is moral. These people just want a better life. They just want more children. They just are not able to work right now, so you have to pay for them to have children. They just need your jobs. They're going to come in and build wonderful families, and it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be nirvanic. It's going to be beautiful. Everybody's going to get along of all these different groups. So it's just going to take you overlooking these challenging periods. You're just going to have to deal with it for now. You're just going to have to accept it. And the only thing that you can do, white person, is to continually reaffirm that we should not see each other as white or black or foreign or different religion. We should just see ourselves as humans. The most ugly, inelegant, absurd people group imaginable, the most impractical, improbable, unworkable people group imaginable. That is not how the human animal works. Literally reaching into the biology classroom to snatch up the word human because people somehow maybe implies to some degree different groups of people. So stretching even further, we're this close to Homo sapiens. We should just be loyal to Homo sapiens, is the infantile, conservative, conservative, white mindset. And again, I'll point out, what are the odds? What are the chances for a people group to behave as selfish individuals with a loyalty to humanity, to Homo sapiens? What are the odds that they are going to succumb? Well, it's 100%. The writing is everywhere. And yet you still have the purest form of this childish wishing and hoping for the impossible eudaimonic multiracialism. That's the morality of the right wing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the morality of the right wing. We just need to be basing everything on meritocracy. That's where the problem is, they'll tell you. We can have this eudaimonic multiracialism if we just base it all on meritocracy. Which, of course, is impossible with other groups of people acting in their self-interest by way of their group's interest. You go further on the right, and you just get anti-non-white hatred. Nothing on the right benefits the white race. Nothing. Bottom line, what she's saying there, what anybody with this mentality is saying there, and I feel really bad for her because she's so poisoned with anti-whiteism. Bottom line, she's saying, please do like us whites. Don't have a race. Don't have a people. Please be like the white race. Don't have a people. If you don't have a people, then you won't get mad at general white people. I'll have to personally offend you or grieve you to make you angry with me. So please just do like us. We will keep suffering and keep never identifying that we're being victimized as a group. We will keep doing this. Just please imitate us. No one is that stupid from any other group. No other group is going to behave that way. Quote, and this just made me see, everyone on there, the people who are financially gifting her, everyone on there, it's not just white people sending it to me, it being money. It's not just white people sending it to me. Why is her focus so much on the racial aspect to the detriment of the white race? Because of anti-whiteism. Because of the meme pathogens that are in her subconscious mind. Because she's measuring her morality by the anti-white immoral imperative. It's not just white people. It's probably 99% white people, 95% white people, and she is disavowing them. 90% white people, probably higher than 90% white people. And she's disowning them. She's disavowing them. No, the people coming to do right by her with love is a multiracial effort she credits. She was savagely, almost murdered by anti-whites. And her response is to turn around and credit multiracialism for the love she's feeling, for the well-being that she is experiencing as a consequence of the love being sent in messages and in dollars. She says it's not just white people, it's everyone of different nationalities and different colors and different religious beliefs, different political beliefs. You know, it's a melting pot. Well, I'm sure you all can see exactly what's being said there. That has nothing to do with the people financially gifting her. She can't tell what their political beliefs are. She can't tell what their religious beliefs are. She's not seeing photographs of these people. She might be able to look at the names and discern, well, that one looks like it's probably not a white person. That one, that name there looks like it's probably, but she's not able to determine anything beyond that. Unless the people are writing, I'm a staunch communist socialist and I want to financially gift you. Nobody's writing that. And if there are, it's going to be very few. And she's going to, even if it is very few, even if there are very few, she's going to use the weight of that insignificance as the evidence of a multiracial effort, a melting pot. What is the melting pot idea for the average white person? The eudaimonic multiracialism. The nirvana of multiracialism. Just be like us white people. Just ignore your race. Just don't have a people in a race. And if you don't have a people in a race, then you won't harm me as a white person unless I personally aggrieve you. Doesn't work that way, white people. How many generations have to go by of this failing? Final paragraph, quote, and I feel like everyone has put a blindfold, all of these financial gifters. I feel like everyone has put a blindfold on all of these things and just set on all of the things, race, religion, whether you're foreign or not. They put a blindfold on all of these things and just said, love, love, love. And if we could just go out into the world and have that same, and now listen to this. This is the instruction from Holly. Now, I wonder if Holly was Halaquisha and she was brutally beaten by a white man, if she would say this instruction. If we could just go out into the world and have that same kind of blindfolded love for each other, then we could be, listen to this sentence. Listen to this sentence. If we could just go out into the world and have the same kind of blindfolded love for each other, then we could be safe again. And our children could go outside again. This is the mournful pleading and wailing of the white victim of the West. When she's talking about we, she's not talking about Hispanics not able to go out different places because they'll be victimized. That's not happening. She's not talking about blacks going out, not able to go out places because they'll be victimized on the basis of their race. That's not happening. She's talking about the white race. She said here in this final sentence that we white people can't go out and be safe. Our children cannot go out and be safe. We are hunted. Anti-white lynch mobs attack us as they did on that night in Cincinnati. Her remedy, though, is to beseech non-white people to be as people-less as the white race. Because, as I said, if they are as people-less, as selfishly individualistic as we white people are, then she and her children and white people in general won't be victimized for being white. She and white people out there in the world would have to personally aggrieve individual non-white people for them to be angry with them. She wants to be able to go out into the city and have a good time. She wants to be able to go to the supermarket. She wants to be able to go to that mall. These are all the experiences of the white race. The mall that we used to be able to go to, that is too threatening for us now. Those certain blocks in the city that used to be so much fun back in the day when it was safe for white people can't go. We can't go anymore. The clubs that we used to go to, or the bars that we used to go to, not safe for white people anymore. Whole cities, whole regions, not safe for white. You look across the West, whole regions, not safe for white people anymore. Can't even go out. We show you the videos here of the white females in every country of the West videotaping themselves being stalked and harassed by anti-white non-whites around the entire globe. If you'll just be as selfishly individualistic as we are, as blinded, as crippled as we are, with no people, then you won't victimize us for being white. Please, let's be that. Please, she says. And this is the mentality of hundreds of millions of white people that we have to get to. So I ask you, I'm going to play her sobbing here in just a moment. I ask you, though, it's pretty safe to say that the white guys around her are probably not cucks, probably not cuckservatives. They're probably basic bitch white guys. They probably use some racial slurs here and there, probably laugh about them. They probably are not afraid to acknowledge out loud, hey, that part of town is real bad because it's black. Hey, if you're going to get carjacked in Washington, D.C., they would probably opine to Holly, it's going to be by blacks, just for example. Hey, if you go to Adams Morgan in D.C., you're probably going to get harmed by Hispanics. They would probably opine to Holly. What does that do to Holly? That pushes her further and further into this cuckservative, please hug me. Please, all these groups that hate us, please show me some love. What more do I have to do? How much more can I do to placate and assuage you? What more do you want from us? And have you not seen this across the West from the white population? This incessant yielding, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. They'll be happy with a little bit more. Not just over generations, over the course of an individual life. It gets worse. What if these white guys around Holly had said some of the concepts that we use here in Go Free? Holly, we can't go there because they're anti-white. What course does this set Holly's thinking on? Holly, anti-whiteism is everywhere in the West. It's not going to be safe for us until we address this illogical, this irrational hatred for white people. We've got to take this head on. It's evil. It is immoral. How might Heidi have responded in this interview if that had been what she was exposed to? Wouldn't it be refreshing if Holly were a lot more like a Jewish woman or a black woman? What if Holly were breaking down in tears, saying she doesn't understand, why does everybody have to be so anti-white? They are hunting us. Why should we be hunted? As she screams through tears rolling down her eyes. What would that do for the white male population? How many millions of white guys would immediately stand up out of their gaming chairs with their flabby bodies and say, no more. I'm not going to allow any more victimization of our people. If only Holly, so many other white people who are lynched by anti-whites, had talked like this after the fact, had broken down in tears with these pleas. Something is wrong with these anti-whites. Something is wrong with their thinking. Nobody should be that immoral. They should be charged. We have to stop this. Why aren't our politicians, through streaming tears, she screams, why aren't our politicians stopping the anti-white hate in our cities? I'm a victim of it. No. Instead, Holly, through the sobbing, is begging that the non-white races stop, and that all of us stop having a people. Who are the only people going to heed that message? Whites. Only fellow white brothers and sisters out there are going to hear Holly's sobs and pleas for, can't we just get along? We just need to never see race. We just need to never acknowledge that we as the white race are being victimized. We just have to continually beg our victimizers for mercy. Only the white race is going to agree and respond to that. None of the other groups are going to do that because they can see the folly of it written in the blood on our white skin. Let's listen to Holly.
I just don't even know what to say. Just the love from everyone, and the humanity, and the wishes, and the peace, and it just made me see how many people out there are still good, because for so long I thought the whole country was just full of shame and hate. And I just want you all to know too that you guys have a community of love. I don't even know what to say. You're all just beautiful humans. And let's just keep moving forward with love. Let's keep moving forward with love. For your neighbor and your cousin and your coworker, and stop looking at them as white or black or foreign. Just please, God, just start looking at humans as humans again. And this just made me see, it's everyone on there. It's not just white people sending it to me. It's everyone of different nationalities and different colors, and different religious beliefs, different political beliefs. It's a melting pot, and I feel like everyone has put a blindfold on of all of these things and just said love, love, love. And if we could just go out into the world and have that same kind of blindfold and love for each other, we could be safe again, and our children could go outside again. And you guys just don't even understand.
We have to instigate the return of our atavistic instincts. We have to instigate a return to a much healthier white race. We have to reject, even for moments of our time, anything that pulls us in any other direction. We are out of time. This is your wives, your mothers, your sisters, your daughters, every day across the West. She is broken. Earlier in the conversation, she began to recount what she referred to as the horror in the face of her anti-white attacker. The evil is what it was, the anti-white evil, wanting her, because she's white, to be dead. We have to step in and make this change, or it's over. And all around you will resound the wailing of white women begging everyone, non-white and white people, to just be selfishly individualistic. That'll be the last sounds you'll hear in your life. Sloth says, you are more than before your time. No white guilt. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Samuski says, I'm not sorry to say this. Seeing this just disgusts me and hardens my heart. It's not our similarities that make us the same. Precisely, brother. Anti-white bullshit, says Sloths. She is claiming there was a blindfold to love her because there is anti-whiteism. Well said. Ardent Party is with us. Jerome is here. Ardent Party writes, Hail, hope you're well. We're seeing a lot of Western kind awakening. The Woodlander Initiative, the Old Glory Club, I'm happy to hear that these groups, and I don't know a lot about these groups. I did speak to a little bit of the OGC. Aside from the few guys that are using the lexicon to create a people out of our deracinated race, I don't see remedy there. So I don't know. Maybe you've got better eyesight than I do. But I have seen all of these endeavors over the years, all of these different types of move off to the hills. Let's sit around and pedantically prattle about philosophers or history or what will come after. None of that is going to put an end to this. I mean, that's just the reality. And I definitely do not see white awakening in white people who are, and I'm not saying you see this either, Arden, white people who are being anti-non-white. There were every white person in America. You go further back in time, you get to a point where every white person acknowledged race and the differences among the peoples of man. And so the fact that you can find some people who maybe don't fit into society as well, who will come together and say, yes, there's differences in race or whatever, that's no sign of health. This is not going to be stopped by pedantic prattling. This is not going to be arrested by cravening into the hills somewhere. This is not going to be arrested by talking about Palestine or talking about the Jews, when you had in the 90s the number one website for all things about Jews for years was Frank Weltner's Jew Watch. Everything negative you could ever think about Jews was number one on Google search engine. Congressman Trafficant and so many others, primetime television, talking about the AIPAC and ADL. I mean, you look at something like this, and I I clearly explained, and you can all see and follow very easily what are the thoughts going on in her head. We know exactly how she's been programmed. We know exactly how the white race is functioning. This is going to get so much worse because of the refusal to do just what is really obvious. What is really obvious? You can't march in the street and change this. You're not going to intimidate the system. You're not going to argue anti-whites out of the power that they hold. This has to be done. The only way it can be done by a percentage of the white race becoming a people across national lines. That's it. That's it. There's no other way. That's it. And this is in a way repulsive. I feel for her. I'm not saying Holly is repulsive. What's been done to her is repulsive. Her reaction to this is repulsive. It's going to be headlines. You'll be seeing headlines of her calling, in so many words, for selfish individualism. And then you'll see conservative white people all sharing and spreading and saying that's the way it has to be. We were here. She definitely was counseled. Tree Godfather thinks that she was counseled. I don't think she has to have been, but she could have been. This is just, I've talked to lots, especially when I worked on the Hill, of basic bitch white people at CPAC, at events that were related to Supreme Court cases, and I've talked to lots of them. And this is their thinking. It's to beg non-white people by way of an edict or an admonition to all peoples to be selfishly individualistic. And then these people, these white people, they go back into their communities, they go back into their families, and they lay the law down in their houses. You will not see race. You will not see color. You will be perfectly handicapped, because that's the only way we can have peace. But nobody else does it that way. And as I said, they're not going to do it that way because they can see the folly all over us. So much silliness. There's so much childishness. The resistance to our victimization has been and continues to be such a childish joke. These are real world consequences. She has neurological damage. Emotionally, she's probably never going to be right ever again. Right to whatever her norm was. Kinfolk says, I'm shocked she didn't tell people to turn the other cheek. Kinfolk, you know what's interesting about that is that it reveals that the true impetus here, even when it expresses itself through Christianity, is anti-whiteism. So it's not she's definitely not speaking from a regular position of a regular churchgoer and trying to lay the ornamentation of Christianity on top of anti-whiteism. This is pure anti-whiteism coming through. Pure anti-whiteism. A Jewish woman wouldn't act like this. A Jewish woman would not get beaten for being Jewish. Pick any group, but beaten for being Jewish, and then go on the air and cry and beg that we all need to be individuals, selfish individuals, not have peoples, not see any of our differences, not acknowledge the racial targeting of the Jewish community, wouldn't do it. So you can see right there, I mean, as simple as it gets, the remedy to this. Look at the difference in outcomes. The Jews are not being erased in the slightest. Blacks are not being erased in the slightest. But whites are. But yeah, don't listen to me. Keep heading out to those more popular leaders, group leaders, content creators. Keep listening to them. Keep finding faith and in the things that have failed forever. Here comes a guy with a community that's been succeeding, people that apply the practice and it works, perfectly laying this out. And it's like, no, 100 of us are the only ones. This is truly Camp of the Saints. Truly Camp of the Saints.